different sections, iba-iba yung number ng elements. So, ngayon check natin. So, say for example, meron tayong element, yung steel plates natin. So, yung steel plates natin, isa yung element natin. And then, for the angle bar, meron tayong horizontal, one element na yon, and yung vertical element, yung vertical part niya is yung second element for the angle bar. And then, for the T section, tatlo yung element na bilang natin for T section. So, una, yung web natin, isang element yon, half of the flange, isang element din yun, and yung half ng flange natin, yun yung third element ng T-section natin. And for the hollow box, hollow shaped steel natin, so meron tayong 4 elements yung bilang ng element for HSS. So we have for top and bottom, dalawa yun, and for each side, dalawa. A total of 4 yung elements. And for wide flange, bali 5, kagaya dun sa T-section natin na meron 3, idadagdag din natin yung sa flange, which is half nun, isang element, and half nung bottom flange natin is isang element din, with a total of 5 elements. So ngayon, iba-ibang section, hindi naman lahat ng element ng isang section ay may connection. So say for example, ito, meron tayong angle bar. So meron tayong horizontal, and then meron din tayong vertical. So say for example, yung vertical lang yung may connection, like what I've said before, yung pinresent natin kanina, na kapag merong connection dito na may bolts or weld, yung effect ng bolts na to, meron siyang shear stress. So yung shear stress na yun, kapag na-introduce siya dun sa plate natin, magkukos siya ng non-linear, non-uniform na distribution ng stress. So mag-iiba yung intensity ng stress sa part na to, especially lalong-lalo na pag may hole and may bolts. So ngayon, yung effect na yun sa part na to, ito yung intensified, nagkikerry ng malakas na stress because of the holes dun sa part na to ng portion. And then yung part na to, ng element na to, onti lang yung nakukuha niyang stress. So to consider only the portion na nagkakaroon ng high intensity na stress, ang gagawin natin is we need to reduce the effect of the shear lag, yung shear stresses, and then i-multiply natin siya dun sa effective net. So ngayon yung shear lag natin, this is just defined as the reduction of the net area, wherein we multiply a value of 1 or less than 1 value para makonsider lang natin yung portion ng section natin na nagkikerry talaga ng mataas na stress. And then we less yung consideration natin dun sa element na hindi naman hold ng malaking stress value. So that's why we need to reduce pa yung net area ng effective area na sinasabi natin by multiplying it with a value of 1 or less than 1 depende dun sa number of elements natin. Okay, so ano ba yung formula na gagamitin natin? So for shear lag, ito pala yan. So yung shear lag creates a non-uniform stress distribution around the connection of the region. So the stress trajectory around the connection causes the efficiency of the connection area to be reduced. So babawasan natin yung efficiency because of the non-uniform distribution from high intensity dun sa part na merong connection and then papunta dun sa less connected. So we need to, since hindi lahat ng transfer of load ay napupunta dun sa ibang elements, section elements, so we need to reduce the efficiency of our tension member. Okay, so therefore we expect na the distribution dun sa mga parts na hindi connected, especially yung less yung intensity. So all these stress are trying to exit out the connection and transfer due to the shear interaction na tinatawag nating shear lag. Because of the bolts, diba? Yung bolts, meron siyang shear. So, we need to reduce the effect of the net area to consider only the portion na mag-result ng less tension force. So, according to our code, section 504.3.3, yung effective area natin daw, kailangan natin, para makuha yung effective net area, kailangan natin i-consider yung area net kung saan binawasan na natin ng diameter of the holes and then multiply natin ng value ng u. So ngayon, ano ba yung u na kino-consider natin dito? So, we need to refer to table 504.3.1 or sa AISC natin, this is table D3.1. Now, to account for this not uniform transfer of stresses among elements for steel section, this table, especially yung AISC and NSCP, summarizes their different research data. So, possible, sinample nila yung different sections and then they come up with these expressions and factors na hindi complex. So, we have 8 cases here that we need to use and analysis and design of tension members and to consider the effect of shear lag kahit pa paano, no? So, hindi na natin kailangan magkaroon pa ng finite element model para makuha natin yung actual na effect ng shear lag. So, ngayon, si AISC na yung nag-provide sa atin ng mga values to somehow consider those effect of shear lag given tayo ng different sections and different type of connections. It can be a welded or bolted connection. So, note that the multiple cases yung pwedeng ma-apply for a given single connection. So, say for example, when we're considering wide flange, we can use either case 2 or case 7. So, most of our formula here are empirical and derived from an extensive research. Isa-isahin natin yung mga shear lag factor. So, kapag lahat ng elements ay connected, yung value natin is 1.0. So, especially dun sa flat plates natin, lahat ng, say for example, ito yung flat plates natin. So, lahat naman ng element, kasi isa lang yung element, connected na siya. So, automatically, yung U natin is 1.0. Now, kapag angle bar siya, so kapag angle bar, kapag itong part na to, connected din, meron siyang bolts or welded. And then, itong part na to is connected din. So, yung gagamitin natin is 1.0. Pero, kapag isa lang yung connected, kailangan natin pumunta dun sa case number 2. Wherein, yung formula natin dyan is 1 minus x bar over L. So, case 2 tends to apply to most tension member connections. So, yan. And then, the formula is U1 minus x bar over L, wherein yung x is the distance from the centroid of the connected area, yung connected area, to the plane of the connection. Ito yung member natin na connected. And kung ano daw yung centroid nito, and then yung distance niya dun sa face nung connection, yun yung maging x bar. So, may mga research na usually para mas mapadali yung analysis natin, we try to somehow make our U as 1.0. So, paano ba natin ginagawa yon? Kasi kapag 1.0 yung U natin, mataas yung value ng area natin, mataas yung value ng strength. So, ngayon, kapag nireduce pa natin yan, mababawasan yung capacity yung kayang i-hold ng tension member natin. So, ano ba yung ginagawa para as much as possible, yung value ng U natin is 1.0. So, to consider the value of U 1.0, kahit yung connections natin ay hindi lahat ng element nakakonect, ang gagawin natin is usually nilalakihan natin yung value ng L. So, kapag mahaba yung connections natin, yung length of connection na tinatawag, yung value ng U natin is almost close to 1. Kasi 1 minus x bar and then large value of L. So, almost 0 na yan. So, wala na siyang isusubtract pa. So, yun yung ginagawa para mas makuha pa din natin yung value ng U na 1.0. Pero in the case na hindi yung value ng L natin is sobrang mababa, kailangan natin gamitin yung formula na to. And then yung formula na to, nagbabago-bago pa, depende sa type ng section natin na gagamitin kasi magkakaiba yung centroid. So ngayon sa next slide natin, nakapresent dito yung different value ng x bar. So say for example, meron tayong angle bar, then nakakonect siya sa plate. Yung x bar na gagamitin natin is depende dun sa orientation ng angle natin. Kasi meron tayong longer leg and shorter leg. So kapag gagamitin natin is yung longer leg, which is yun yung common, longer leg, connected siya sa plate, ang gagamitin natin is X bar from your steel manual. So yun na yun. Yun yung gagamitin natin. Yung X bar dun mismo sa steel manual natin. Pero kapag baliktad, kapag yung shorter, ang gagamitin natin is yung Y bar from your steel manual. So mabilis lang naman yan, depende sa kung ano yung nakakonect. So kapag ito yung longer, tingnan natin yung X bar niya. And then kapag shorter, yung Y bar from your steel manual yung gagamitin. So take note, yung centroid, papunta dun sa face ng connection natin. So mabilis lang naman. Automatically, yun na yun yung X bar. Yung X bar dun sa steel manual, yun na yung gagamitin natin. Kapag ganito, yung configuration or setup ng connection. Ngayon, kapag meron naman tayong wide flange na pinalaman na ng steel plate, ang formula lang natin ng X bar, yung X bar na gagamitin natin is yung center lang ng wide flange plus the face of the cover plate, yung dulo ng cover plate natin. So, mabilis lang, no? Mabilis lang siya intindihan kapag sandwich siya ng plates, yung wide flange. Ngayon, kapag cover plated naman, yung wide flange natin, meron sa taas or meron sa baba, yung connection natin, ito yung wide flange natin, yung flange niya, ito yung may connection, ang gagawin natin, or yung X na gagamitin natin is just hatiin lang natin yung wide flange. So, ano yung kalahati ng wide flange? So, magiging na siya T. So, yung T na yun, sa steel manual natin, meron tayong properties ng T-section doon. And then, kung ayaw nyo isolve yung centroid from the top of the flange, papunta dun sa along the web natin, para kung ayaw nyo nang isolve, pwede kayong mag-refer dun sa steel manual and kunin natin yung hindi yung X bar. Ang kukunin natin dun sa steel manual is yung Y bar. Kasi yung orientation ng T-section natin is vertical. So, yung X bar na ginagamit natin or gagamitin natin is the Y bar of our T-section. So, kapag ayaw ninyong isolve pa yung centroid na to, so, tingnan na lang natin yung steel manual to get the value of Y bar and yun yung maging X bar ng connection natin. Okay? Now, for channel, kahit single channel man or dalawang channel, pinapagitnaan nila yung isang steel plate, yung value ng X bar natin is just the centroid of our channel. So, vertical naman yung orientation dyan. So, ang kailangan natin kunin is the X bar kasi symmetrical naman siya sa Y. So, walang centroid sa Y yung channel natin. So, asymmetrical siya sa X. So, yung value ng X bar na makikita ninyo sa steel manual, yun yung gagamitin natin para makuha yung U under case 2 kapag channel yung connection. So, we will have a sample problem regarding channel or tingnan natin, it can be an angle or a channel. So, for now, let's continue discussing muna yung mga values ng shear lag. Okay, so ano ba yung values ng L? So, kapag this is a bolted connection, yung L natin is just the end-to-end of the length of our connection. So, for bolts, kung ano yung distance center to center from the most edge unto its final or yung end na connection natin, yun yung L. And then, kapag nakastaggered naman siya, yung center to center ng first bolt natin, and then yung center din ng final bolt natin sa connection. Pero kapag naka-welded siya, kapag same lang din naman yung longitudinal welds na kinukonsider natin, so longitudinal welds, pwede natin magamit yung case 2. So magagamit lang natin yung case 2 kapag welded kung meron tayong longitudinal as well as transverse. So longitudinal sa taas and sa baba, and then meron tayong transverse weld vertical. So to get the value of the L for welded, kapag same lang yung upper and then lower length ng welds natin, automatically, yun na yung L natin. Pero pag magkaiba yung top and yung bottom, kukunin lang natin yung average ng length ng top and then ng lower to get the value of the L that we are going to use for the formula 1 minus X bar over L. So, yun lang, di ba? Madali lang. Next, case number 3, which is, this case is yung parang hindi common, no? Common na connection. So, for case 3, involved tayo ng transverse weld. Kapag ganito, meron tayong transverse weld, pero kulang ng isang connection na longitudinal, ang kailangan lang natin i-consider na area is the area of directly connected elements. So, kung ano lang yung area na may connection dun sa weld, transverse weld, and then also yung longitudinal, yun lang yung area na kailangan natin i-consider for our calculation of the effective net area. So, kapag meron kayong configuration na ganito, transverse, and then longitudinal, yung area na gagamitin is the area directly connected to the elements, and yung U natin is 1.0. So, case number 4, this is for plates and also welds. So, ngayon, kapag meron naman tayong connection wherein connected siya by a weld, pero longitudinal lang yung welds natin, we can use this provision. So, kapag yung L or yung length ng welded connection natin is greater than 2W or yung perpendicular distance ng dalawang longitudinal welds, we are going to use 1.0. But if it is between 1.5W or 2W, gagamitin natin is 0.87. So, take note that we need to consider or solve muna the length and also the width in order to check for us kung ano yung gagamitin natin na U value. Pero kung ayaw nyo na, isolve pa yung condition, i-relate yung width and then yung length, pwede nyo nang isolve agad yung U, wherein for approximate value of U, we can use this formula which is 3L squared over 3L squared plus W squared 1 minus X bar over L. So, take note na yung L natin dito, kapag same, automatically, yun na yung L. Pero kapag hindi same, average yung gagamitin nating value ng L. Now, for the shear lag equation, case 5 and 6, this is for round and rectangular HSS. So, mostly hindi tayo solve ng problem regarding HSS. But for case number 7, this is very common for our wide flange. So, wide flange T for this shape. So, dalawa yung condition na kailangan nating i-consider. Usually, ginagamit natin yung K7 kapag wala pa kayong length ng mga bolt connection. So, for estimation, we can use K7 kung ano ba yung gagamitin nating U value. Ngayon, kapag ang kinoconsider natin is yung flange, we need to check first kapag meron tayong 3 or more fasteners. So, ang fastener na sinasabi dito is kung ilan yung bolts na connected per line. And then, yung per line natin, ito yun, per line. So, say for example, ito yung wide flange natin. Wala kasing figure. Mamaya, pakita ko na lang kapag nag-solve tayo ng problem. Pero kapag wide flange naman, kapag dun sa left and right, automatically, dalawang line na yon. Pero yung number of fastener, kung ilan yung bolts dun sa line na yon. So, kapag more than 3 siya, we can use this provision under K7 for flange. And we need to check yung value ng width ng flange natin if it is greater than 2/3 of the depth of our wide flange. Kapag yung BF, width ng flange, is greater than 2/3 ng depth, we can use U is equal to 0.90. Pero kapag less than siya, we can use the U value of 0.85. Now, for case 2, kapag sa web naman, we will use U is equal to 0.70. Now, kapag meron kayong value ng L na, and then gusto mo pang i-check yung case number 7, especially sa wide flange, so meron kang case 2, and then case 7, so dalawa yung magiging value mo ng U. Ang kailangan natin gamitin is yung larger. So, yung larger value. Okay, so, for case 7, check natin kapag yung connection natin ay nasa wide flange or nasa web. And then, check natin kung ilan yung number ng fastener or bolts dun sa isang line ng connection natin. So, if it is more than 3, we can use the upper part of this code and then check natin yung 2/3 ng depth natin as compared to the width of the flange. And then, kapag meron na tayong length, we need to compare the value whichever is greater between case number 2 and case number 7. So, ang meaning lang naman yun, simplify. Kung ano yung mas malaking value ng U, yun yung gagamitin natin as a shear lag factor. Now, the case 7 is applicable for the angle bar, single angle bar, and we need to check kung ilan yung dami ng fastener natin sa isang line ng connection. So, kapag it is 3 fastener, we are going to use U is equal to 0.60 and then U 0.80. So, again, we need to compare it with case number 2. Whichever is larger, then yun yung gagamitin natin as the shear lag factor to calculate for the net area. Okay, now moving to block shear failure. So, possible na mag-fail din yung tension member natin under a tension fracture along one path and a shear yielding or shear fracture along the shear area parallel dun sa tensile force natin. So as we can see in the images we have here na ganito yung failure ng shear natin. So it can be a large tension, small shear, and a large shear and small tension. And then according to code, in order for us to calculate for the block shear strength, we're going to use this. But before that, let's examine first yung mga possible block shear pattern. So yung condition lang naman natin for block shear as long as nakasama lahat ng bolts dun sa mag-tear out or magbe-break in a block, kaya tinatawag natin block shearing, although meron tension. So block shearing na tinatawag. So kapag plates, meron tayong 2 lines of fasteners and then meron tayong 3 bolts each line. So, pwedeng sa gitna, pwedeng sa shearing or block failure sa papunta sa downwards, and then similarly, since it's symmetrical, pwedeng sa upward. While for 3 lines of fastener, ganun din, may gitna, may upper and lower na block shear. Pero kapag angle and a web of the T's, ang magkakaroon lang ng block shear failure dun sa isang element lang. So, say for example, connected siya, yun nga, yung connections natin ay nasa web and then nasa angle, yung portion na to na wala namang connection, nandito lang, yung portion na walang connection, walang block shearing na mangyayari. So, hindi na magpupropagate or aangat pa yung block shear failure papunta doon kasi of course, wala namang, kung may connection man, iba yung, wala na, ibang, din yun, block shearing pattern. So, for this one, yung angle bar natin, meron tayong connection. Yung may mga portion lang na merong bolts dito, yun yung mag-shear, yung magba-block shearing. So, it's either sa gitna or pababa. Ngayon, yung part na yun, hindi na siya aangat pa. Unlike doon sa plate na pwedeng sa taas or pwede din sa baba. Now, for the web of I-shape, so, ganun din, hindi na siya pwedeng pumunta dun sa flange niya or sa bottom flange. Nandun lang siya sa web. Nandun lang yung possible block shear path diagram or failure na kukonsider natin. And for the flange, yung flange ng T natin and of course, sa wide flange, nandito sa edge yung possible natin. Failure natin under block shear. Okay, or yung pattern ng pag-block shearing ng mga bolts natin connected dun sa element. Okay, so for the formulas that we are going to use, according to the code, dalawa yung values na sinasolve natin. So, we have 0.6 FU, rupture strength, and then yung area net ng shearing cross-section natin, parallel dun sa force natin, tensile force, plus UBS, FUANT, dapat less than siya dun sa 0.6 FY AGV. Yung gross naman yung gagamitin natin instead of the net area of the shearing plane plus UBS FUANT. And then the reduction factor that we are going to use, similar lang siya dun sa rupture strength natin under net area, so 0.75 and 2, whereas the AGV is the gross area subject to shear, area net area subject to tension, A and V net area subject to shear. Where the tension stress is uniform, UBS is 1, and when the tension stress is not uniform, UBS 0.5. So, summarize lang sa table na to yung mga formulas. Ngayon, ano ba yung UBS? So, kapag yung stress distribution natin commonly is same lang naman dun sa connections natin, either welded or bolted, and then commonly meron lang tayong single row of beam, especially sa coping beam. So, kapag cope yung beam natin, very common kasi na kailangan natin magbigay ng allowance para ma-connect natin yung another beams natin dito sa isang beam, wide flange. Common siya sa wide flange. So, ngayon kapag meron lang kayong single row of beam and connection, what we're going to use is the value of 1.0. Ito yung pinaka-common. Special case lang yung 0.5 wherein may dalawang rows tayo, although technically columns to kapag vertical. Pero for 2 rows of bolts, line of bolts, the value of UBS is 0.5 because yung force natin dito, yung stress natin dito is not uniform. So, mas mataas siya dun sa pinaka-edge. Just imagine, parang ito lang yung shearing stress ng beam natin. No? So, mas maximum siya dun sa support, and then nagre-reduce yung value ng shear natin papunta sa midspan. So, ganun din yan. So, yung unang line ng bolt natin, yun yung may mataas na value ng shear, and then yung sa susunod, yun yung maliit na value ng shear. So, kapag ganun, hindi equal yung shear na nakikerry ng mga bolts natin, the value of UBS that we are going to use is 0.5. So, check nyo lang kung ano yung configuration, yung setup ng connections natin na kinukonsider sa design ng block shear, and then that's the time that you can decide whether to use 1.0 or 0.5. Pero commonly, kapag single line lang naman yung bolts natin, the value of UBS that we are going to use is 1.0. Now, the formula, usually, isusolve natin parehas, no? So, solve natin yung involve yung net area ng shear, and then involve yung cross section. So, kapag cross section, yung shear natin will yield, and kapag net yung section natin for shear, ang gagamitin natin is the rupture strength. Okay, so that's it. I think we can start solving problem na. Ito ba? So, design of tension members, we can refer to chapter D for the design. So, first, we cover tension member analysis. Given tayo ng details about the member, and we can assess the member's performance and compute for its capacity if it's less than the design loads. Whereas sa design, we're given some loads and constraint, and we want to know the safest member to use. So, we need to solve for the dimension kapag design. But here sa CES2, we'll always strive to select the lightest member as possible. So, to become efficient, dapat yung DC natin or design over capacity should be equal or almost close to 1 or more than 0.90 to make it efficient. Now, for the stiffness criterion or slenderness, although yung slenderness ng tension ay hindi common. Common siya sa compression. So, according to code, there is no maximum slenderness ratio, pero may commentary na we need to limit the slenderness or yung haba ng member natin in tension by limiting the value of or the slenderness ratio, the length of our tension member divided by its radius of gyration na dapat hindi mag-exceed sa 300. So ngayon yung radius of gyration is just the normalized value of our inertia, moment of inertia na makukuha natin from the steel manual, or we can calculate those value of radius of gyration manually by getting the square root of the moment of inertia and then divide natin ng area ng element. So ngayon, bakit ba natin siya nililimit sa 300 although wala naman directly na sinabi yung provision na kailangan i-limit? Kasi may possibility na mahaba yung tension rod natin, and then yung mga tension natin, members, ay mas mahaba talaga yung connection, especially sa truss. So ngayon, para hindi natin ma-achieve yung 300, kailangan it's either babaan lang natin yung length ng natin, ng tension member para mas mababa na yung value ng slenderness ratio, or lakihan natin yung section para mas malaking value ng radius of gyration yung makuha natin. So for that condition na kailangan natin i-limit sa 300 kasi gusto natin, ayaw natin magkaroon ng excessive sag or vibration yung tension member natin kapag sobrang haba or sobrang liit naman ng section. Ngayon, ayaw din natin ng damage during shipping erection kasi yung mga truck natin may limit lang din. So, kung ayaw natin, kapag sobrang haba, possible na pwedeng ma-deflect yun or ma-stretch lalo or ma-compress, mabago yung natin dahil sa sobrang kahabaan niya. So, ayaw natin mangyari yun. So, we try to limit the value of the slenderness to avoid excessive vibration and damage due to shipping and erection, and excessive deflection under its limit states or serviceability limit states. So, ito yung condition. So, what are the different slenderness limits? Now, we can also design for the strength of our tension rod. Makikita natin sa code. Very straightforward lang yung calculation natin sa design ng tension rod because we are only up to the diameter